In a Punjabi household, you're telling me 3 dishes. It doesn't happen. It's a Punjabi household. There are dishes and dishes and dishes. Now Mumbai feels the most like home. One, I'm Maharashtrian, and then I've stayed here the longest now. I was very young when I was living in Nepal, and it was more like an Indian, like a camp sort of an area with those quarters. And I remember there used to be these hara chanas that used to be growing in the fields, and there was this barbed wire, and you know that hara chana, when you peel it and it's very sweet, and I loved it. So I would push the barbed wire, climb over it, and go and steal the chana. And I would get into huge trouble with my mother, and invariably I would be like, how did she know? Because I invariably came back with torn clothes from the barbed wire, scratch across my leg. The hardest thing for my parents to do is to get me home straight. I always found various ways to come home by. But I remember the chanaka fields in the mountains from Nepal. But home is Mumbai. Has anyone ever been to that Dadar flower market? It's stunning and ugly at the same time, because the flowers, it's a riot of colors. It's a lot of activity, so it's humming with energy. It's early in the morning, and of course it's dirty because of all the flowers that have fallen. But it's just amazing. I think that experience of it, the whole life that happens at that time is just amazing. Punjabi food is really good in my house. I have a couple of Maharashtrian restaurants that I really like going to. I really like going to Ghazali. It's one of my favorite Maharashtrian restaurants. But there are a couple of things that only my mother gets right. I think like sabudana khichdi, sometimes modaks also.
Ukdiche modak, right?
Ukdiche modak. I found a couple of people who do make it, like, because it's not possible for my mother to make it now. But there's something different about it. You know, the thing about Maharashtrians is that in Maharashtra there are these various communities, and every community has their own way of making the same thing. Like a Puran Poli that I am, say, like a CKP, and how we would make it will be very different from how somebody else, some other community would make it. Same thing with modaks. There are some little changes in the ingredients that makes it different. So that's why I think when my mother makes it, it's just that much more special. Also, you associate childhood with it. So all that also comes into play. Butter chicken at my house and misal pav at my farm. So I would pick both like this. Obviously, there are more than 3 dishes. You know, in a Punjabi household, you're telling me 3 dishes. It doesn't happen. It's a Punjabi household. There are dishes and dishes and dishes. The Gucci pulao is very good at my place. Guccis are this is morels, and it's yummy how they make it at my place. I love it. No, I'm not a wild person. I'm very sober and proper, even abroad. We are in Orlando in Disneyland, and with my son, husband of course is busy, so has not come, and I'm so sure about the way I'm taking him, and I'm like, this is the way to go. I'm of course going in the opposite direction, and my son, I think he must have been 7 or 8 years old, he's like, Mama, we are going in the wrong direction. And I'm like, this child is telling me which direction to go, and the child was right. That's the worst thing. I have never lived that bit down till today. Any time when we are together, and if I say no, I think we should take the right, and my husband and my son look at me and say we definitely need to go left, that's my reputation. Oh my God, ideal city break is to get in some shows, get in some museums, get in some art exhibitions. That would be my ideal city break. And trying out some new restaurants. New York. I love New York. I got my second life there. I love it. And yes, of course, it's not just that. It's got a great vibe. And all the things that I like doing, New York gives me that. When my son was younger, I think what was important was understanding where I was and what were the resources that I could use in that city. And usually there were some really lovely resources. Like I remember once we were in Berlin and we were going through all the fantastic history that Berlin has. I remember there was a teacher who came with his dog and took us on the tour. And this was a resource that we had used, which made that walk and the history tour so interesting because, my son loves dogs, and so this little child was so engaged and he loved the experience so much. Or like there was this other time when we were in Paris and I was there with my friends and all our kids were together, and what we did was that we hired this person who takes the kids on a treasure hunt in the Louvre. See, the children, how much of the art are you going to see over there? So they pick out certain things and then they have to look for clues and go and find it, and they're either paintings or sculpture and stuff like that. So it was a lovely activity, and while doing that activity they were learning without realizing that they were learning. So I think as a parent, when I was traveling with my child, getting these kind of resources to make it fun was very, very important. Usually the so-called big bookstores are the ones that I'm not very fond of. I like those bookstores which are in these little lanes and which are really not that frequented, especially in New York when there are little lanes where you suddenly come upon a bookstore and you're like, oh, there's a bookstore here. And those are the ones that I really like, because I feel that in a small bookstore, it's still curated by the person who owns it, and that has a certain touch to it which can't be matched by a huge bookstore. So I really love that. But the bookstore I like in Mumbai is Granth. That's one of my favorite bookstores in Mumbai. Do I know everything about my son? I think I tell him that I do. But now I think he's grown up enough to have caught me and says that you don't really know everything, Ma. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, I don't. I really don't want to leave Mumbai and settle in another city. I want to go for holidays. I want to go for extended holidays. I don't mind going for years-long holiday, but I want to come back to Mumbai.
Don't insist that they should speak Hindi because you speak Hindi. Don't think it's funny to comment on people's skin.